As opposed to Beyonce to the left. No, you want to be centered.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Remind podcast. You are joined by Dr. Ashleigh Morland and David Masterton, and we are responding to a question that one of our amazing listeners wrote on an episode. So the question was really all about rest versus relaxation. So what leads our body to rest? What's needed for our body to rest? How often should we rest? Are we resting enough? Are they even the same thing, rest and relaxation? And we got chatting about this. We recorded an episode a long time ago, episode 34, if this interests you. Go back and check it out, because in that episode, we talked about, is self-soothing and numbing out really restful? So we have had a conversation previously about rest, but I thought this in particular was an interesting question because of something that I've been going through in my life. So this little fancy thing here, I just got a new Garmin watch for Christmas, and when I got it, and you wear it 24/7, so it tracks your sleep and it tracks everything. And it's been so fascinating observing my physiological data 24/7 and tracking things like my heart rate overnight, my heart rate variability, my stress levels, my respiration and everything, right? And what it has shown me is that actually there are some signs physiologically that my body isn't as healthy as I would like it to be. And even though I am sleeping, it's not super restful sleep.
Okay, so you're fussing, like you're rolling around, things like that?
Yeah, so there's a few factors. There's sleep and wake cycles. So there's that restlessness, the interrupted sleep. There's also recommended times for how much your light sleep versus deep sleep versus REM sleep and all this sort of stuff. And there's lots of evidence in my data that my nervous system and my body is quite dysregulated to the point where I'm not getting enough REM sleep. I'm getting too much light sleep. So for instance, last night I slept for 9 hours and 40 minutes, but a lot of that was light sleep.
Okay.
And so the restfulness and the recovery of the brain and all of that clean out process and restoration of our immune system and all that sort of stuff happens when our brainwave frequencies are in those deeper states. And if most of my sleep time is light sleep, then I'm actually not resting very well at all. And there's a whole bunch of factors for that. So obviously for me, you guys probably followed my journey that my weight is higher than is recommended for my age and height and everything else. So that plays a part. Yep. So that absolutely plays a part. Losing weight will absolutely support improved sleep. Even with things like sleep apnea, overweight and obesity are really, really big risk factors for sleep apnea. So there's a lot of evidence that shows being in a healthy weight range for our age is really beneficial in terms of rest and recovery in sleep quality. But some other things that come up in rest, I think a really big one is understanding what is restful to you, because what's restful for you might not feel restful to someone else. But I'm going to throw over to you, Dave. What feels restful or relaxing for you? If you imagine that you are feeling really relaxed, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with or not with?
Okay, well, look, that restful is still quite elusive. And I suppose it comes down to when you say rest or relaxed, I think one of two things. There's like a spiritual relaxed and relaxed, and words, relaxed or rested, to me, that kind of feels like at peace from a spiritual side of things. From a physiological, well, I get moments of it. So now sometimes those moments might be a bit longer than others. It could be when you just wake up and you're in bed and you are the comfiest you've ever been.
No.
Right? It's that thing where just everything is hitting you exactly where it needs to hit. Temperature on point. Blanket covering all the bits that it needs to and none of the bits it should be. Pillow, perfect. Your body position, everything just feels like it is in place. Right? And I go, well, is that relaxing or is that just severe comfort? But I've got to say, when I have to create the relaxing or the resting, most of the time I'm soothing. So, where is that? It is on the couch. It is maybe watching YouTube. But these days, especially right now, I can't necessarily commit to YouTube or Netflix, whatever. It's usually in between watching my phone and watching the TV. So I know at that point I'm 100% soothing. I'm trying to relax. So I'm not doing anything physiologically. However, is my mind being put to rest?
Yeah.
Versus being distracted. And I can say right now, it is mostly being distracted as a soothing.
Yeah.
So to feel that sort of relaxed, well, it'll be moments where I find I've had too much of the soothing and the soothing's not working. So I might go outside, close my eyes and then just listen to the creek or, just be outside, close my eyes and then, we'll call it a meditation. We'll call it just being in the present moment or something like that. And then that moment may last 30 seconds, 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just literally being right in at that moment, but I'm not asleep. And so I find that is relaxing. However, I've had to soothe myself to get to that point. I can't just snap into, I can't schedule a meditation. It is literally, because otherwise I'm sitting there and my brain's darting around. So really for me to be properly relaxed, I hate to think what my sleep schedule's like, because I do all the no-nos when it comes to sleep. So if I eat a majority of the food in the day, it's not in the morning because I'm not hungry, I don't want to. Generally not lunchtime, it's usually towards the later part of the evening.
Yeah.
No, number one.
Yeah.
My favourite thing to soothe me into sleep, 9 out of 10 times, is going to be doom scrolling.
Wow.
Right
and that
before bed.
soothes you into sleep.
Soothes, correct.
Wow.
So it's like soothing, or it's now becoming habitual. I'm in that level of I can't really decide. I have at the moment the interest of changing it. That's for the future David to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but my schedule is pretty routine. I'll sort of maybe get to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, scroll for a couple of hours, and then I kind of know, and then light off. And getting to sleep is generally not a problem at that point.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Do you wake
I'm just
up feeling rested?
more recently, no.
Yeah.
But I have had that routine or pattern where I have woken up feeling rested, but not greatly. Because I also know when I say these are no-nos is because it's not because someone told me, that is in part why I know it's a no-no. I'm not feeling completely rested. However, I know with everything else going on in my life, it's something that I need to do. I can't fix David 100% across the board all at once.
Yeah.
And so these are the things that will be coming into alignment, a bit like my weight, not just yet as I'm finishing off and closing these other cycles. But other times I've felt relaxed, again, would be maybe a cheeky nap on the couch. But again, that's usually because I've passed out because I've eaten something that has, overloaded me.
Yep.
But it feels kind of restful, but you've been sort of pushed into a food coma. So the idea of what is relaxing versus rest, well, I mean, for me, 90% of everything that I do is, when it comes to this area, I would say is probably more soothing than anything else. I'm looking forward to actually bringing that rest and relaxation into my routine. However, it's not by attacking it directly. Like, I'm going to make myself rest. I'm going to make myself relax. No, It's actually going to be an outcome of what is it that I'm soothing from.
Yes.
What's putting me into that? What is it that might be pushing the cortisol levels up so I'm waking up at 4 a.m.? Or it could be a number of things. Like if you subscribe to, that you are part of the earth and the earth frequencies and all of these type of things, you could be reacting to what's going on energetically, globally, or in your own little pocket or people around you. But so to be honest, the person, our listener, raises great questions, because for me, I look forward to be able to giving the proper answer in the future. Because right now, I believe I know enough to know I hate resting properly.
Yeah.
Not all the time. I have moments of it, absolutely. But also, I don't feel as though I'm a victim of all of this. It's more of a, this is happening because, again, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I'm building things up. This just seems to be the latter part as I'm closing the other parts off. But I will have these absolute moments when I feel the most relaxed and rested is when spiritually I'm at peace.
Yeah.
That's, for me, huge. That I know. And then you start to think, well, how do I recharge the battery? Is it took me 20 hours to deplete it, so it's going to take me 10 hours to charge it? Well, what is a moment? Could 5 seconds of pure rest recharge you for 20 hours? Who knows? But for me, I do get those moments, and sometimes they can last a while or they might just be fleeting.
Yeah.
But I know I tap into it. So kind of an answer, but no answer. Stay tuned, listeners.
Bit of an
Catch you next week. Yep.
Whenever I'm thinking about stuff like this, I think it was a really interesting question where our listener actually asked, are they the same thing? What actually is it? What does it mean to rest? What does it mean to relax? And are they even the same thing? When I love this because it's such a blind spot. We would all use the word rest and relax and relaxation because we're so familiar with the word. But where did we learn the meaning that we've assigned to the word? Well, we've just picked it up in conversation, in society, in our homes, in our family. And so whenever I am reminding myself of the meanings that I've assigned to things, I question it. I, with curiosity, go, well, I wonder what the actual definitions are of rest. What's the root meaning of the word? What was its intended meaning? And how is that different or similar to the meaning that I learned to assign to it from my upbringing? And I found this really interesting because the word rest, historically, from its root words, there's Old English, there's Proto-Germanic, it's got a bed or a place to sleep or a pause in work or activity. It's a break. It's a period of ease. So rest is more around having the physical stop. You are physically stopping what you're doing. But that also includes mental and emotional breaks, right? But relax is interesting because for the root meaning of the word relax, it's about loose or slack. So laxus means loose or slack. Re means back or again. So back or again. laxus, loose or slack. So what is that actually conveying? It's essentially saying, imagine like untying a knot or loosening or slackening off, releasing the slack of a string. Reducing tension or physically loosening is more associated with relax. So I then asked myself the question, can I rest but not relax? The answer is yes. I can stop but still feel tense and tight. Can I relax but not rest? The answer is yes. I can relax, physically loosen, release tension in my shoulders, in my chest, in my head, and continue doing the dishes. I can do that. And so when I asked myself the question, like, I can't tell you how many times in my life I would go, I just need to go and have a rest, and I'll lay down and I'll do the scrolling. And so I've taken the time, but I haven't been intentional with that time. And so I haven't felt rested. And this is where I think we can fall in a bit of a trap where we might take a rest, i.e. a break, we might stop, we might pause, but we're not intentional about what we do in that rest, how we spend that rest. And if we're not focused on loosening and reducing tension and releasing tension, then it won't be resting or restful. It'll literally just be a pause, a blip in maintaining the tension. So we come in with tension, we pause, and we go out with the same tension. So this was really interesting and helpful for me to think about, because when I look at this, I go, okay, we now have a bit more of an idea. The listener's first question is, what does it mean to rest and relax? Well, I think that becomes pretty clear, right? It means for rest, it means we stop, we pause. For relax, it means we're really intentional about what are we doing in that time of rest to loosen or release tension. So that might be slow breathing. It might be just being really present in the body. Certain postures and positions like laying on the ground can be really helpful. Laying in a bed, quieting the mind, mindfulness, all that sort of stuff, right? In terms of what actually leads our body to rest, I would encourage our listeners to go back and listen to our episodes. We did a series on the nervous system. And in the nervous system, I spoke, in those episodes, I spoke about the sympathetic, which is like your fight, flight, freeze stuff, and the parasympathetic nervous systems. So what leads our body to rest is essentially regulating our nervous system. So we want our parasympathetic nervous system to be down regulated. So that means doing the therapy, processing past traumas, cleaning up your diet, getting your body weight into a healthy state, making sure you're dealing with any immune issues like autoimmune conditions and things like that. But then we can also upregulate the parasympathetic. So we did a whole section on that. We spoke about like your deep diaphragm breathing, gentle stretching, gentle movement. Pilates is a favorite of mine. Grounding activities, things like being in nature, co-regulating, cuddles, pets, like all of these things. That's upregulating the parasympathetic. So that's going to actually, from a physiological perspective, support our body to rest. I think we spoke about mindfulness, meditation, but I keep coming back to sleep. And I think we'll do a whole episode dedicated just to sleep because, like I was saying, I can sleep, i.e. fall asleep at this time and wake up at this time and seem like I've slept for a long time, but still wake up in the morning and go, I don't feel rested. And that's because there's this whole conversation to be had around the quality of the sleep that I'm getting. It's not restful sleep because my body isn't in a state of relaxation. It's still in quite a dysregulated state during my sleep. So I think
it's a cool one.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important.
But I'll throw this out there. right?
Yeah.
Are we chasing rest and relaxing, or are we chasing rejuvenation?
I think you can't have one without the other. Rejuvenation requires rest and relaxation.
Well, I'm going to say, if I had to think about the times, and I agree with you in part, but I think there's other times. Like if, when I've done like a major run or something like that, I feel like there's like a big energy. Like there's something euphoric about it, right? Now, yes, I do need to rest to recover from that, but are we looking for, and I know we're talking about physiologically, but is it that because I go back to what have we been modeled in the past? Okay, so rest and relax are the same thing. Rejuvenation is then thrown in as what the outcome's supposed to be.
Rest and relax. Oh, sorry. You're talking about the programming from the past, that they are the same
Correct.
thing.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Because it's sort of like you need those two to get to rejuvenation, right? That's what's been programmed. I really need some R&R, right? What does R&R mean? Relax and, whatever, rest and relaxation and rejuvenation, whatever it is. And so we think about, okay, you're having a stressful time at work, and what do you do for your R&R? You go on a holiday and you lounge on a sun chair next to a pool or a beach. You're sipping, alcoholic and non-alcoholic cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the sun, you're outside, you're doing something, right? Other times it could be you're going away somewhere and then you're in a ski lodge and you're inside in front of a fire, sipping hot chocolate and all of these kind of things. But again, it's sort of like when you think about what that rejuvenation feels like, because that's the reason why we sleep. That's the reason why we relax. Mm-hmm. It's a reason why we rest, because otherwise...
we'd die.
Yeah.
If we didn't, we'd literally die.
But imagine like, is there a programming that sort of says, do we get a reward for, like literally, we have been modeled to being a human doing, not a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of do it because we're chasing something. And that's rejuvenation or not dying, things of that nature. So I guess it's sort of like, what fills your cup? What rejuvenates you? I guess I'm going back to, it's not a linear thing.
Uh-huh.
Yes, all of these things that we need to get rid of the barriers, the weight gain, the doom scrolling, the crap diet, when you eat, all of these are barriers to it. But if you start to find things that fill your cup, that make you feel alive, that make you feel rejuvenated, whatever that is, that's getting you closer to that rest and relaxation.
Well, that to me is that's the definition of relaxing. If we feel joy and peace and connection, and that's usually going to be in your creative pursuits, usually, then that to me is relaxation.
Okay, because relaxation by definition, my version is you can't be doing anything.
Then there you go. So remember I said before, can you have rest without relaxing, and can you relax without the rest? And the answer is, well, if relaxation is about physically loosening and releasing tension, it doesn't say stopping what we're doing. So for me, there are aspects of my work that I find deeply relaxing. And I can be being super productive.
Does that
and I
involve
can be
spreadsheets or whiteboards? Which one?
Look, might involve... Yes, okay. I do like to have
I feel
some
very
nice...
called out right now.
I do. I feel very called out right now. I am surrounded by whiteboards and also flip charts. So there are aspects, and it usually involves colour. I colour code things. And it usually involves being creative and innovative and having ideas. That does not feel like work for me. That fills my cup. It lights me up. It brings me joy. That to me is relaxing. I don't need to stop and do nothing to feel relaxed. I need to do less of the things that feel less relaxed.
Yes.
That tighten the rope, that create the tension. And so can you live your life where you are productive, you're having significant contribution to society, you're contributing to the household, you're earning money? Can you live that life and be relaxed? And to me, that's the ultimate goal, is not to earn all this money so I never have to work so I can go and sip cocktails on the beach. That doesn't sound relaxing to me at all, because there's this fire inside me that wants to be, productive isn't the right word, but is alive and is always wanting to expand and evolve and create. Exactly. And so the idea of living life in a permanent state of rest feels suffocating and gross to me. Honestly, that it does not light me up. But the idea of living a life of alignment where I don't need to take a holiday just to be rejuvenated, because my life is one of flow and ease and grace and alignment and all of that, then that's a pretty relaxing life, right? Like, it's pretty easy to be chilled out when, So I think that to me is a really important point.
Well, we've been programmed to build a life and to accept a life that you take holidays from.
Yes. So Industrial Revolution programming.
Yep. And so as we move into build a life you don't need a vacation from, exactly what you're saying is perfect. Doesn't mean I'm not going to create experience where I'm on the beach in Waikiki in Honolulu, Hawaii, sipping cocktails and absolutely leaning into that. That's absolutely going to happen.
But that has an expiry date.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it is limited. There will be a journal beside me. There will be a book. There will be something where I'm looking at, stop, pivot for the next point.
Yeah.
But one thing that really comes to mind, and this really comes back to kids, my childhood, what I'm seeing with other kids around me, not, also my own as well, is a sense of safety. And this is a deep one, right? You can imagine you've got all the logic in the world where you've got a bed, you've got a room inside a house, and you are sheltered from the elements and the creatures around you, but you don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, good luck being rested. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are.
Relax. Exactly.
Well, I mean, however, the version of sleeping that we have learnt to accept, we've gone, well, I am resting because I'm doing this thing where I go to bed and I put my head down and my eyes close. And then when my eyes are closed, I don't remember what's going on. And I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, okay, it's the morning, let's start again.
Yes. And that's the most crucial hammer home point, is if you are in an environment where your nervous system cannot feel safe, then relaxation is not possible for you. And so feeling rested is more about the capacity to experience and access relaxation than it is taking the time to rest. And I think that is the most hammer home point. And I think you've nailed it, Dave. I think one other thing that I want to touch on that I see, not only in my own life, but in clients as well, is the seasonal rest. You talked about going on a holiday. The number of people that I have worked with who have pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until reaching almost on the verge of burnout, but relying on that seasonal rest like a holiday, or periods away from their life or their commitments, and that's their strategy to avoid burnout. That says to me one of two things. One is that person living an aligned life? Two, there has to be some scaffolded rest. Like, rest can be micro rests. Micro rests are things like I sit in my car for a few minutes and finish the song that's on the radio before rushing inside and making dinner. So what are the little... I was telling Dave a funny story off air about one of the things on my new watch is it's got something called a body battery. And over the Christmas period, I'm like, my body battery got down to 5. I was totally cooked. And at one point, I just sat there on the toilet and I sat there for 20 minutes and my watch dinged and it was like, congratulations, you've just recharged your battery. My body battery went up. That is literally...
Cue an inappropriate joke from my behalf, laughing, and then,
Yeah. And so that is an example of taking some of those little micro rests. That wasn't so micro, that was a little more macro, but daily. So some relaxing practices on a daily basis. Is reading relaxing for you? If so, prioritize that daily. Mindfulness, stretching, whatever it is for you, taking a bath. Like if you
tinkering
can,
in the shed, tinkering on the car.
yes, connecting with people who you love and feel connected to. And then weekly rest. So in biblical times, there was a thing called the Sabbath. Now, the Sabbath was a day of no work. It was at least one day of reduced demands or no work-related activities. And that is like a principle as old as time. So having that weekly rest incorporated in some way, shape or form is really, really important. And I also think that a big part of this conversation is recognizing that sometimes we're not just talking about paid work. All of life can feel the opposite of relaxing. So if parenting, if it's the demands of parenting, if it's the demands of like your own mental overthinking and rumination, all of those things are stealing, killing and destroying your capacity to feel rested because you can't relax because that noose around your neck is so tight.
Oh, 100%. And this is the thing, what I said before, that fixing this is not linear. It's not like you got to work harder at relaxing. It's like you can't bench press a rest. You can't do repetitions of relaxing. Like it's not sort of something that you can build yourself into. You actually need to look at the other things and that will be an outcome of it.
Yeah.
It's like chasing money. You don't chase money. You do things to earn money.
Yes.
Right? And so when you look at all of this and go, oh, okay, so exactly where am I and what stresses me out? And if the answer is everything.
Yeah,
and
everything,
then you go,
everyone,
okay,
always.
what's stopping me from changing? Well, everything.
Yeah.
Because I have a job that I have to do, because I have bills and I have children and I need to look at that. So it's all very well, David and Ash to sit there and say, just change it because, life can be brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Great. How do I do it? Well, it's uniquely your own journey.
Yeah.
But the first thing you have to figure out is what are the things. So like if I have a real struggle parenting, do I just get rid of my kids? Well, that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, exactly.
Not figuratively, that's actually what's happening.
Yeah.
But you sort of go, okay, well, what's causing me not to have capacity as being a parent? Well, it's because of the job, it's because of the partner, it's because of this, it's because of that. Okay, well, yes. It may feel like an absolute mountain of stuff if you can recognize it. And it could be that you look around and go, well, actually everything's kind of okay, but I just can't rest.
Yes. And then that's when I take it that next level deeper and go, well, let's look at your programming and your expectations and your values around rest. When you see someone else resting, what judgments do you place on them? Oh, they're lazy. They should do this. They should do that. If you've got time to rest.
It's nice for them to be able to rest.
Yeah, exactly. And so then resting is the threat because you're trying to evade those very judgments that feel unsafe for you. And so I loved our listeners' question, what does it mean to truly rest and refuel? I want to say that if this hasn't been a common part, like if this hasn't been your organic, natural way of doing life, it's actually going to feel really uncomfortable at first. And so if you're used to being that busy bee, always running around, always on the go, always busy, run, rest is going to feel uncomfortable at first. It's going to feel unproductive. There are going to be, I guess, conflicting parts coming up in you that feels like you should be doing this or you should be doing that, or you're going to have stuff to process. And that's what we do in all of our programs is we help people to bring those things to the surface and then process out all of those fear and panic responses in the nervous system, as well as rewiring the mind. But then once we can actually do that, well, what is rest supposed to feel like? If we don't have any of those like limiting beliefs or trauma responses or judgments or fears or anything like that, rest feels light. It feels expansive. It feels energized. It feels peaceful. And at the bare minimum, it feels neutral. It doesn't feel stressful. It doesn't feel exhausting. It doesn't feel tiring, right? So I think it can be a journey reaching that point. And part of that journey is overcoming some of those fears and some of those, I guess, belief systems that come up for us that drive that sense of busyness and the judgments and expectations.
And I would say with all of that as well, when you sort of asked the question, I was answering it in my own head. What does rest and relax feel like? And this is just anecdotal, right? This is not to sort of say I'm spot on. Because again, I don't think I've really hit the mark, or I may have, and I just don't know what to call it. But if when I'm feeling safe and content and peaceful, I know at that point it feels resting and relaxed because I'm not anything else.
Yes, you're present.
Now, whether that's like a neutral and I can go even deeper into it, which again will be for the future David to enjoy, I don't know. But one thing that is that the version of rest and relax that I was taught and that I knew is nothing like what I experience, which can be calm or content and safe. If you can't feel safe, when you ask yourself the question, when was the last time I felt safe? You need to feel safe to be relaxed. Like it's on the opposite end of the scale. Again, fight or flight. If you're not safe, you're not relaxed.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting for the shoe to drop.
That's right.
You're waiting for the rustle in the trees.
You're going to be tense. If relax means to loosen, go back to loosening and releasing. If you feel unsafe, you are tense because you're ready to fight. You're ready to flee. You're ready to pounce. You're activated, exactly. And so, man, this has been such a profound conversation.
Great question.
It was.
Great question.
It was probably a deeper, we've probably just taken a surface level question and gone so deep with it. Literally went back to the root meaning of the words rest and relaxation.
I'm just so glad we talked about your toilet habits. That was probably the highlight of this episode.
But I think this has been really valuable and stuff that I wish I had have known, because one of the biggest things that comes up in our clients and in our participants is people who talk about this sense of peace and relaxation in their body. But it's the lack of stress response. And it's the lack of stress response to things that they previously would have perceived as stressful. And that could be as simple as, I felt peace at Christmas lunch, even though no one in my family changed. They're all the same people having the same conversations, whinging about the same stuff, but I was relaxed because I know that I'm not them, that their opinions are theirs, that I'm safe, that we're,
Yeah, you raised such a great point there.
It's so powerful.
Well, you think about it. It's like, again, what's been modeled to us? I can only relax when my surroundings are peaceful.
Yes.
But no, you can be incredibly calm and relaxed when everything around you is going absolutely berserk.
Yes.
Because it comes from within. And again, it's like you can... Maybe next episode. But yes.
Rabbit hole.
Yes. Yeah, I saw the years just drop into the hole and I'm like, whoop, hang on, next episode.
Yeah, 100%. So there's so much. We can take this so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. We will put in the show notes some links back to previous episodes. So I know that we have definitely spoken in the past about feeling calm in the chaos, which I think is really relevant to where you just went there, Dave. But also definitely episode 34, we talked about numbing out and self-soothing. Is it really restful? I think that's a really important part of this conversation, because look at your rest habits, guys. We would love to hear from you. Did this open your eyes to some things? How do you think you would feel if you focused on intentional relaxation in your mind and your body, even in the absence of those opportunities for rest? But also, what would relaxing in your rest time actually look like? If it wasn't doom scrolling or watching Netflix, what would it look like if it was actually relaxing and rest promoting? Would love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments, reach out to us, join our Facebook group, the Heart Centered Healing Hub. We would love to continue the conversation with you over there. And until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.